This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Anchor by Spotify. And if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. No specialty training or equipment needed. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast worldwide on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, like I've been saying, Anchor is totally free. It's free. Download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started and make your podcast dreams a reality. That's anchor.fm. What are you waiting for? Download the app.
Well, it's a big show.
Welcome to the Fade Route
It's a big bad show tonight.
with DNZ.
Yeah, it's a big show.
Here are your hosts,
Cracking up, telling them lies.
DNZ. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Fade Route with DNZ. I am Z, and we got a great show for you live from Casa Squirrel once again. Chet Holmgren hurts his foot. Fernando Tatis Jr. says he's sorry. And we order up the NFC East. But we begin today with the brawls, the brouhahas, the melees in joint practices. There have been 23 joint practices this preseason in the NFL, and it's been, it's been a scene, man. The Panthers and Patriots have gotten into a scuffle. The Carl Lawson got into a scuffle with his own teammate on the Jets, so that's well done. The Cowboys and the Broncos. You had, they just keep going down the list all the way back to the Hall of Fame game with the Jags and the Raiders. But this past week, was the most egregious in my opinion because it had a little bit of violence. We'll just say it right now, just a little bit of violence. Aaron Donald is seen on video on social media. It's making the rounds. It's viral at this point. And you see Mr. Donald swinging a helmet, not his helmet. His helmet's still on, but he's swinging a Bengals player's helmet like an axe up over his head, chopping down onto somebody else. And it immediately calls to mind the Myles Garrett scenario. They got Myles Garrett suspended for the rest of the regular season, 6 games. And it really had pundits calling into mind whether or not he should be suspended for longer than that. But he only got 6 games. Here's the kicker. The NFL has no jurisdiction over joint practices. What? So, if there is an incident like this, it is up to the teams, the individual teams, to discipline its players. You really think that the Rams are going to punish Aaron Donald beyond a fine? Especially since you have the Buffalo Bills coming up, you have opening week coming up. You're not paying attention if that's what you think. But how is it even possible that incidents in practice are governed by the individual team and not by the NFL disciplinary committee? I don't understand that. Are they NFL players? Isn't it an NFL sanctioned event? Then NFL players should be governed by the NFL disciplinary committee. It just, there's a logic gap there, and it's just very telling to me that they got in this recent labor negotiation. The NFLPA did an excellent job in negotiating this little wrinkle. We'll see. We still have some time, but clearly, these players are ready to be out of minicamp. Let's just call it what it is. And here he is. I've known this guy since our days on Carousel Shoes, flight crew through and through, the last QB in St. John's history. What's up, D? How's it going, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get to the joint practices in a minute, but how do I get the invite to Casa Squirrel? I mean, I'm missing out on some fun times here. I think everybody else is too.
Absolutely. You got to put your name in on the reservation list. You got to make sure you get it early because the seats are filling fast. So you just got to make sure you're on there.
So, these joint practices just seem reckless. I mean, when you think about it, you're going to let a player like Mike Evans compete in a joint practice, but you're not going to let him compete and run routes in a game that's sanctioned by the NFL? That just doesn't make any sense. I mean, joint practices are stupid, they're dangerous, and the NFL front offices really need to step in here and stop them from happening. Let's not forget that the two teams that had a fight were the two teams that were in the Super Bowl. This is the first time they've seen each other since the Super Bowl. Dreams were shattered. There's aggression that's still left over from their playing on the field. Like, come on, like that's just it's just ridiculous. I don't think anybody gets anything out of it. And almost every single one, there's a fight.
No, absolutely, because like Jeff Saturday was on ESPN today on NFL Live, and he made an excellent point that in the past, yes, you were concerned about, having your padded practices, not showing anything, not giving anything to the other team. But now these joint practices are where you're making your bones, especially as an undrafted player, as a bubble player. You want to show your value to the coaching staff in a capacity that you can't necessarily show during padded practice at training camp and during walkthrough. So I understand where Jeff Saturday is coming from, but I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment.
There's just no difference between you running. There's no difference between you running drills with a guy on your own team and a guy wearing a different color jersey. I'm sorry, there isn't. And to have a team travel to your destination, do the whole hotel thing, get off the bus, get dressed, and come out there, you're just asking for trouble. You're just asking for it. And this fight that happened got out of control. I mean, someone could have really got hurt. And at least, when you have an NFL game, like you said, there are penalties for that. Aaron Donald would have got kicked out of the game. He would have got fined. And he got suspended. The actions that he took yesterday, nothing is going to happen to him. So what's going to stop him from doing it again or doing it worse next time? He ripped off 2 helmets yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, he's an incredible Hulk. He's a freak nature. He is incredibly strong. And unleashing him against a team that you just beat in the Super Bowl, you're not getting any money out of these practices. It's not like people are paying to get in. There's nothing gained here. And I don't know if your advertisements go up that day. Maybe you have your best sponsors come that day. But you're just asking for someone to get hurt.
Absolutely. And apparently this behavior is egged on by the coaching staff because new right tackle for the Bengals, Lyle Collins, was out on the field, got into it with Leonard Floyd, and then they let him go again. And then it happened again. So you had 3 different rounds of Collins versus Floyd, and then, like gasoline on a fire, it started involving other members of the team until it engulfed both teams. So this becomes an incendiary flashpoint, and it can be avoided because these joint practices are instead of the padded practices that used to be the norm in training camp. Now, because of the collectively bargained agreement, you have fewer padded practices, a lot more walkthroughs, So in order to get these reps in, you're scheduling these joint practices, but it seems to be way more trouble than it's worth. Now, granted, Robert Saleh has said that there's a lot of benefit to it because
That guy.
Well, I understand his point of view. He's saying that you see a lot of things, like once you're presented with another team, you can see where you still have opportunities for growth. You don't necessarily see that when you're going up against your own guys. But is the trouble really worth it at that point?
I'm not taking anything Robert Saleh has to say until he gets his ish together. So he can say whatever he wants. I don't buy into it.
For all the grill masters, green thumbers, home repair heroes, and DIY aficionados in the Richmond, Virginia area, if you're looking for a personal service, quality products, and a convenient shopping experience, look no further than Thacker Ace Hardware in Colonial Heights, Virginia. Owner Don Rackley and his team of local experts have everything you need to tackle all of your home projects. I'm talking paints by Benjamin Moore and Clark in Kensington, power tools by Craftsman and Milwaukee, electrical, plumbing, hardware, and let's not miss the grills. Weber, Big Green Egg, Traeger, Blackstone, top shelf, amazing. And for all you green thumbers, their nursery department is fantastic. Give them a call today, 804-766-4223, or stop by 27 Dunlop Village in Colonial Heights. That's 804-766-4223, or swing by 27 Dunlop Village in Colonial Heights. Thacker Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
But, we're talking about, these scheduled practices between other teams, and most of the football teams are closing up camp either this week or some of them even closed up last week. But the NBA has been having summer league games and summer charity games all summer long. Chet Holmgren, the second pick in the NBA draft, suffered a foot injury during one of the said games, which will force him to miss the upcoming regular season. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
Little deal from the standpoint that you don't expect anything from the Oklahoma City Thunder anyway. Right? This isn't like John Morant hurting his foot, getting a Lisfranc injury. This isn't like, Zion Williamson getting a Lisfranc injury. This isn't Devin Booker. This is the number 2 overall pick in the draft in a rebuilding situation. Consider it a red shirt year. What I do consider a big deal is that this was in a pro-am game, right? So you have these guys rubbing elbows with prospective NBA players that once upon a time wanted to be in the NBA, players with aspirations of one day maybe being able to try out for the G League. But I have a major problem with that, and I'm surprised that they are allowed, right? With the money, the millions and millions of dollars at stake, I am surprised that they are allowed to play in such tournaments where your average Joe can take professional athletes on. And who's to say that, they don't accidentally on purpose submarine a guy going for a rebound? Like, who's to say that doesn't happen? Now, you definitely have some talent out there because 3 players in a Pro-Am tournament beat 3 Knick players. So take what you will for that. So a team of amateurs beat 3 Knicks. Say what you will for that. But specifically, the Chet Holmgren situation, it's an indictment of where he is physically. He's 7 feet tall, 195 pounds. He was going up against LeBron. So he was trying to block a grown-ass man. LeBron is a grown-ass man. And Chet landed wrong on his foot, and that's how we got the Lisfranc injury. It's, it's very telling. It is a sign that, we are correct in our assumption and our assertion that at 7'1", he needs to have at least 30 more pounds on his frame for him to be competitive at the next level. But I am more at odds with the concept than the individual notion of Chet Holmgren.
Well, I disagree with you. In one sense, is that I do think it is a big deal. It was a big deal that Zion got hurt. It was a big deal that Zion missed most of last season. At least Zion did get to play his first year. We were able to get a taste of what he is. It looks like we're not going to be able to get a taste of what Chet Holmgren is until next season. The one benefit to this is that he's got to stay off his foot, so maybe he'll sit on the couch and eat a lot and gain some weight. What I would say, I think it's a big deal. I mean, we said this guy was thin. We said he was fragile. That's showing itself right away, right? He tried to stop LeBron James from going to the basket, and he hurt his foot. I do worry about Chet. I mean, and I think the Oklahoma City Thunder have really put a lot into him. I mean, they're thinking that he's the next big thing. They're going to surround him with stars. We're off to a bad start. I mean, I think he gets hurt. I think, it's really shooting their season down. I'm not saying they were going to win the NBA championship, but you got to at least think that they were going to be contenders for a playoff spot.
I mean, they could have been in the tournament. Sure, absolutely, they could be in the tournament, but there are no great aspirations here. Like, I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you had some, you have some players, but you don't have a roster that will compete at a high level with the next level teams. You'll be able, where they and the Timberwolves differentiate themselves now is that the Wolves made the necessary move to go out of that play-in tournament. I think Oklahoma City is still very much in that play-in tournament on the tail end, like 9 and 10.
I can agree with that. They haven't made their move yet. They're setting themselves up, but they haven't actually made the move yet.
But this is also a good thing. Like I really want to think of this positively for Chet Holmgren. It gives him a year. You get acclimated. You put some weight on. You learn the physical nature of the NBA because you played at Gonzaga. Like, you're not playing the best of competition. This is a trial by fire. And Chet Holmgren will have no choice but to get better. Because the other option is that he gets out. So, at least 30 pounds. If he wants to be a player that's going to excel away from the basket, a la Kevin Durant, I can understand that too. But either way, you still need to deal with the pounding that's going to come from playing against actual grown adults.
Right, like Zion. I mean, Zion's a big dude. I mean, You're going to have to hold that guy down. And like I said, the only thing I would say is that if he could develop a finesse game like Dirk had a finesse game. Like, he had the outside and the fadeaway jumper. Like, people had to respect that. And yeah, he got mixed up down low when sometimes against Duncan and against different centers, but for the most part, he stayed around the perimeter. And you just gotta hope that this kid can get better and that this isn't a reoccurring theme. You can't help but smile when you see a balloon. The simplest occasion is a party. Westchester Pop Stars, located in New Rochelle, New York, offers balloon styling and decor for all life's events. Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, showers, school and corporate events, store openings, or just because. Westchester Pop Stars takes balloons and shapes them into works of art, creating decorative installations for your special occasions. No event is too big or too small, and their custom personalization service is top-notch. Westchester Pop Stars is a private studio, quickly expanding. In-person consultation is by appointment only. Send an email to westchesterpopstars@gmail.com for more information or to schedule an appointment. No need to hire an event stylist. All you need is balloons. currently servicing Westchester, Putnam, New York City, and Connecticut. To find Westchester pop stars, search for them on Instagram, Facebook, or Google. And sticking with injuries, the Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith tore his hamstring in practice yesterday right off the bone, creating a huge hole on the left side of the offensive line. Now, there are questions surrounding Zeke. There are questions surrounding CeeDee Lamb. And new issues now with the offensive line. Is Dallas in trouble?
It sounds like everybody else is starting to come around to where I've been for a little bit. Dallas is in trouble. Offensively, Dallas is in deep shit. Zeke is not what he used to be. Tony Pollard is clearly pushing him. You have CeeDee Lamb. Gallup is not on the PUP list right now, but he's not ready. Dalton Schultz is your tight end, but he's essentially your number 2 receiver. And your line, it's not Travis Frederick, it's not Zach Martin, it's not Doug Free. The only guy who's still there is Zach Martin. Lyle Collins is now in Cincinnati. You're in major trouble offensively, and you're going to have to get, this is where Kellen Moore is going to have to be Das Wunderkind. This is where he's going to have to be the creative guy that they claim that he is. You're going to have to design ways to get Zeke out in space or to get Tony Pollard out in space. You're going to need to get time for them to actively rush the football, because play action pass is going to struggle. The run game is certainly going to struggle. Tyron Smith played 91% of offensive passes last year. In 2020, he played 100%. Right? In 2019, 2018, 99%. This is what you're replacing. This is what you need to replace. Now, do you have the necessary depth to withstand these injuries? I don't think so, because you have McGovern. McGovern is now going to play. He only started 6 games last year. I don't know if their offensive line is good enough. Will they rely on some cuts to kind of patch the holes? Most likely. Are they going to rely on the depth that they have? Yes, because they don't really have much of a choice right now. But the defense is going to have to carry this offense until it gets healthy. Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, they're going to have to be the guys. Because right now, they're just not healthy enough for Dak to do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned. Mainly because of the division. It's a shit show. And I believe in Dan Quinn and the team's ability to play defense. Especially, they just added Anthony Barr. Like, they have Diggs as the corner. They've got a good defensive unit and a really good defensive coach. I think Tony Pollard will overtake Zeke this year, and that's a good thing. He's averaging 5.5 yards per carry, but he's also like more of a receiver. And I think that is what's going to be the difference. He could Shane Vereen people to death, And Elliott, I think he's going to be all right. I know everyone's on saying he's on the decline, but I mean, pretty sure the dude had 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns last year. He's just a pounder now. He's not elusive. He's running straight, and he's gonna run you over, and he's gonna do his little gobble taunt. I always think back to when, as far as CeeDee Lamb's concerned, I always think back to when the Steelers moved on from Mike Wallace, and AB was gonna be the number 1 guy, and everyone's like, can he be the number 1 guy? Is he really capable of that? And I don't think CD is AB, which is a good thing, right? But physically, I mean, on the field, I don't know if he could be that guy. So I'm not worried about Dallas. I think Dak does well. I think the team does well. I got them winning double-digit games this year.
Well, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, doesn't matter. So He did have 1,002 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. That was Zeke's game. That was Zeke's regular season. So
Yeah, so that's. I mean, can we be? Are you upset at that? I mean, not a lot of people get 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdown. I mean, what more? What do you want from him? You want him to have like a Todd Gurley type year where he scores over 20 touchdowns, or LaDainian Tomlinson? I mean, that's just not going to happen all the time. But what if he has like that Derrick Henry kind of emergence? You know, if you remember, the Derrick Henry was on the Titans and he was kind of feeling his way. He was doing good, and then all of a sudden, boom, he exploded and went for over 2,000 yards and scored all these touchdowns. Like, is that in the cards for Zeke? I think it is. I think he could definitely do that. It could be an outlier.
I mean, it's possible. Is it likely? No. Mostly because Dak Prescott is greater than Ryan Tannehill. And Kellen Moore wants to throw the ball.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But,
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But they want to throw the ball. I'm
No.
not convinced the Titans ever want to throw the ball.
They do. Yeah, they do. I mean,
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy wants to throw the ball. No, you're right.
Absolutely. And this is the offensive line currently. Tyler Smith, Connor McGovern, Tyler Biadzis. I'm totally butchering your name, Tyler. I'm sorry.
That guy.
Biadzis, whatever his name is. Zach Martin and Terrence Steele. It's a far cry from Lyle Collins, Travis Frederick.
Sure,
Doug
but who are
Free.
they playing? They're not playing anybody. They're playing the Giants. They're playing the Eagles. The only team that's got a decent defensive line in that division is the Commies.
Not without Chase Young, though. Chase Young's going to miss, I think, the first 4 years.
Sweat. Montez Sweat needs to be reckoned with, and Riverboat Ron and your boy Jack Del Rio, they scheme very well on defense. So they come up with things that can hurt people.
January 6th, Jack.
January 6th, Jack. That's great.
Do you love brownies? Of course you love brownies. But you know what's better than a brownie? A delicious, handcrafted, gourmet brownie delivered right to your doorstep. That's what our guys at Sweet Life Brownie Co. offer. Chef Tommy D and the crew offer a dozen delicious delights that you will crave, from the classic OB to Dutch apple to campfire s'mores and many more. Check out their website, sweetlifebrownieco.com, for their Friday brownie drops. At noon, their site goes live and you see what they're making. Since you're there, become a site member and earn points. You earn 50 points just by signing up. Make sure you follow them on Instagram and Facebook too, at sweetlifebrownie_co, for the latest updates and their latest releases and creations. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com. Give them a call, 845-641-3043, and tell them D&Z sent you. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com, 845-641-3043. Sweet Life Brownie Co., because there's always room for a brownie. Oh my
But
God.
listen, moving on to baseball. Over the weekend, the Yankees retired Paul O'Neill's jersey. Whatever. At the retirement ceremony, Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman were booed. And as early as last week, the Yankee crowd was chanting for Aaron Boone to be fired. Fire Boone. Fire Boone. The Yankees, they won 4 in a row. And they're enjoying their series with the Terrible A's right now. Do Yankee fans have a right to chant Fire Boone and boo Cashman and Steinbrenner?
I believe that you have the right as a fan to boo if your team is not doing well. It does come up as a little petulant from Yankee fans. You know, you had the best record
Define doing well, because they're 10 games ahead of everybody.
at a given point. They did have the best record in baseball, but the
Right.
Dodgers have taken them to task on that. But at a given point, the Yankees were running away with the best record in baseball, and you know, it sounds like a little spilled milkish kind of thing. It sounds like, you know, it sounds very spoiled and entitled. Do the Yankees have every right to Yankee fans have the right to boo? Yes, absolutely. They do have the right to boo. However, it is a little misguided that they are doing so. Fire Boone. I'm not the biggest Aaron Boone fan, as you know. Like, this is. What is he really doing? You know? What is he really doing? He is the very definition of middle management. I don't believe he does a lot in terms of the X's and O's. I don't believe he does a lot in terms of managing, personalities. He's not doing what Joe Torre did. He's not doing what Joe Girardi did in that clubhouse. He's just kind of like there, He really is just kind of a placeholder while Brian Cashman runs the team from the GM's office. Now, Brian Cashman, you absolutely have a legitimate gripe with him. And if you wanted him fired, you totally could be justified. Yes, they have won, right? They have won. He took over in 98 from Bob Watson. First place. Won the World Series. 99, won the World Series. 2000, won the World Series. 2001, lost the World Series in 7 games. Okay, 2009, won a World Series. A lot of that was done. A lot of that early success for Brian Cashman was with a team that he did not create, right? Bob Watson, Stick Michael, drafted Bernie Williams, traded for Paul O'Neill, drafted Andy Pettitte, drafted Derek Jeter, brought in Jorge Posada, got Joe Girardi. A lot of those moves were, a lot of that team was already there for Brian Cashman. So when the wheels were kind of taken off and these players started to leave, he did not recover. And except for 2009 when they bought that World Series. But, who doesn't buy a World Series nowadays? Right. So I think it's legitimate that Cashman can go. I'm fine with that. Boone can go. Steinbrenner is enabling all this. He can go. And as far as what, Paul O'Neill as a Yankee, I know that you're not big on retiring numbers, especially since, the Yankees are running out of numbers. But Paul O'Neill was a very good Yankee, and I think he definitely deserves to have some sort of accolade. So, I'm with him on that. And ultimately, it's fine. It's everything is fine.
Listen, I like Boone. I like how he manages the team and how he handles the media. I know you're not, as you said, you're not a big fan of him. My deal is he gets the job done. He does what he's told. It's fine. I'm not sure why people are booing Steinbrenner and Cashman. I don't know what they're booing them for. The Yankees buy championships. They've been buying championships since 1998. The problem is that, like I always say, is you have other teams now that are buying championships. You mentioned the Dodgers. The Dodgers have the highest payroll. Surprise! They have the best record. Second is the New York Mets. Second highest payroll. Guess what? They're the top of the National League East. Like, that's what Major League Baseball is. It's just that now, in the year 2022, there are other teams spending as much money or more money than you are. Right? But how could you get mad at these guys for being 10 games ahead in the East? They're in first place. They're going to make the playoffs. They had the best record for most of the season. They have arguably a top 5 player. Now, do I agree with some of the moves they've made? Some of the players they've kept? Some of the roster moves? Their batting order? No. But they're winning games. Ask the Los Angeles Angels if they would like to be the New York Yankees. Or how about the Philadelphia Phillies, who have the 4th highest payroll and they're not making shit? Or the San Diego Padres, who just traded away all their talent and have talent on their team, and they're just trying to make a fucking wild card. All right? The only thing the Yankees should gripe about is that the Astros have bested the system. They're 8th in payroll, and they're the class of the American League. So if you're mad because Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman aren't the guys from the Astros, you have a right to be mad. But last time I checked, they won the World Series in 2009. They went out and they got the best pitcher available at the time in Garrett Cole, allegedly. They got a guy right now that's probably going to win the MVP award, or at least come in second, in Aaron Judge. There's not much you can be mad at them for. You know what you got. You don't know what you're going to get. You know, you could be mad at him. You could be mad at Cashman and Hal for hanging on to Frazier and ruining his life. They're going to start to do that to Andujar, that poor man. But don't get mad because they're 10 games ahead of the Rays and have one of the best records in baseball. I'm sorry.
It does seem a little spoiled and entitled on, and not all Yankee fans. But
no, it's all of them.
Fair.
It's fucking all of them. No, man. Nah, dude, it's all of them. They all complain. They all think that they should be the best because they were spoiled for 3 years during the steroid era when the whole fucking team was on steroids and they were spending all their money on the best players and robbing teams, that they think that's the way it goes. That's what all these Yankee fans are about. They don't understand that times have caught up to them. You got teams like Toronto spending money now. You got teams like the Phillies spending money now. Like, it's not all gravy anymore. It's not like we're going to rob the poor teams, take their best players on expiring contracts, and then go into the playoffs with Jose Canseco and Cecil Fielder on our fucking bench.
No, like, that's not the case anymore. Like, the Yankees are definitely not doing that, mostly because of the TV contract with Major League Baseball being so lucrative that teams can keep their own guys. Like, Seattle is close to inking
Crazy.
J-Rod, right? J-Rod,
crazy money. But they're doing it. I like what Seattle's doing. They're being smart about it. It's a heavy incentive contract.
See,
and
here's
they're
my
getting
thing.
in on it early. It's smart.
In my opinion, they're getting on him too early. I think one more year.
No, because he could blow up, and then you're not gonna be able to afford him.
Right,
They're trying to get it.
Or he could flame out after signing this money, and now he's Jonathan Singleton. Jonathan Singleton got all that money from the Astros before he even got to the Pigs, bro.
Yeah, you're right. That could happen. But they're like, well, Kalinick burned us, so hopefully this guy doesn't.
Exactly. So they're hoping he's not Fernando Tatis. But, like, you got to make, like, that's the thing that the Yankees don't do anymore. Like, the Yankees, like I mentioned, Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter, that they had a core of young players that came up through their system, and then you supplemented with guys around them, right? You had the aging Wade Boggs. You brought in Mike Gallego for a little bit. Then you brought, you had Don Mattingly there until Don Mattingly retired. Then you traded for Tino Martinez. And you had the young core remain the same, and you filled in around that young core. Like, yes, Darryl Strawberry was on the team. Darryl Strawberry was barely in the league. Steve Howe.
He was going around punching people in the
face.
He's going around punching people in the face.
Yes. Like, that's the Yankees supplemented around their young core. The Astros supplement around their young core. It's not just about buying, right? Yes, you do buy, but your window is shorter that way.
Well, now it is. Now it is, yeah.
You need to be able to do both. If you can buy with a young core, you will have greater longevity.
Which is what the Astros are doing very well.
It's what the Blue Jays are doing right now. And during that game, Paul O'Neill Day, the Blue Jays pitcher Alek Manoah hit Aaron Judge in the 5th inning, and it seemed to piss off Aaron Judge, which I wouldn't want to have Aaron Judge pissed off at me. But Garrett Cole was the only Yankee who came out to defend Aaron Judge and contest the hit by pitch. And it got people questioning the fortitude of the clubhouse, right? It got them questioning whether these guys were really together as a unit, because only one guy came out to Aaron Judge's defense. And of all people, it's Garrett Cole. So do you question the togetherness of this Yankee locker room? And who you got in a fight, Garrett Cole or Alek Manoah?
Listen, man, I think it's been a long season. Most people didn't. I think the problem was most people in the dugout didn't think much of the hit by pitch. It wasn't until Aaron showed his frustration that, Cole was probably, paying attention and kind of jumped the barrier and was, I don't know what he was thinking, but he's heading out, onto the field. So, no, I think they have togetherness. I do think it's odd that more people didn't come to the defense of their MVP candidate, their supposed leader, their captain. But I'm not buying into it. Cole was eager. He was, he didn't pass the Audi sign though.
Yeah.
So I think he was just, he was showing up for the cameras. But man, in a fight, I'm taking Manoah, man. 6'6", 260. Don't try to scrap with that guy. I mean, Cole is 6'4", 220. Man, I don't know. Body the shit out of you,
In a fight, I'm going with Alek Manoah. 6'6", 285. Yes, Cole is 6'4", but, it's about attitude. And,
right.
Like, Garrett Cole seems
He's
seems
soft.
very wishy-washy.
I'm not gonna front. He's fucking soft. Like, he's not. Like, to me, he's not a Yankee, man. And I'm not a Yankee fan, but he ain't a Yankee. Like, he ain't the Andy Pettitts. He ain't the AJ Burnett's. He's definitely not a CC Sabathia. Like, right? Like, CC comes out the dugout. Oh, that's turning heads, right? Am I right?
He is. I love that you're like, he's not a Yankee. He's not AJ Burnett. Like, if that's the standard, if that's the litmus test, my God.
I like it. Yo, AJ Burnett got a ring with the Yankees. I like AJ Burnett. I mean, he was fluky some days, but other days he was nasty. He was filthy.
When AJ Burnett got signed, I turned to my mother and my sister, and I said, you got one good year out of him.
Yeah.
The rest, no. That one good year happened to be 09.
But he didn't have to be, like, right? He didn't have to be the guy. Like,
No.
he could be the 2 or the 3. Like, they had their lead dog. And that's the difference, right? If CC Sabathia comes out of the dugout, it's a lot different than Garrett Cole.
Absolutely.
Am I lying?
No, not at all. Like,
If Roger Clemens throws a bat at Piazza, that's different than Garrett Cole not going past the Audi sign. Sorry, it just is. I don't like any of these fucking guys, but I'm being honest about the situation. He doesn't carry any weight. He's a fanboy to me. Like, he doesn't do it for me. And he clearly doesn't do it for anybody in the dugout because he got nobody following him out there. Like, you don't follow CC out there. CC's gonna let everybody know about it in the dugout and in the clubhouse and to the media.
I don't think this is a situation like Yankee teams in the past where it was 25 guys, 25 different cabs after the game. I think there is togetherness there, but I think it's also just a different time. I think.
But I also think it was a different situation. Like, it wasn't a big deal. Like, I don't think he hit him on purpose. I don't think he really meant to hit him. Like, it did not benefit the Blue Jays at all to hit him in that situation.
No, he had a runner on. He had a base open. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense.
Manoah hit somebody in the fucking All-Star games. Does anybody remember that? Like, he's not notoriously wild, but he gets wild sometimes. Like, he doesn't mean it. But he's not doing it on purpose. You don't think Manoah wanted to strike Judge out? Come on, that's just ridiculous.
No, absolutely. Alek Manoah was, he is trying to. He's not trying to hit guys. He's not trying to put runners on base.
He's not Pedro Martinez, man. Like,
no,
he's not showing like I'm going to hit you in the head.
But
like,
he did buzz the tower in the first inning. I think that's where Aaron Judge. I think that's where he gets a little froggy, was because he did come high and tight in the first inning, and then he comes in again and he hits him in the fifth.
Dude, get off the plate. Like, I'm not going to let you hit a bomb off of me. I don't blame him.
I mean, that's the one thing, that's the one thing that the Yankees never did to Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz.
Oh, my God.
They stood on top of the plate, and it's like, okay.
I used to feel so bad for Mike Mussina back in the day. Like, man, he'd just be hitting bombs off of Mussina.
It's like making
knuckle curve, bam. Fucking change up on the outside, bam. I love Manny. But listen.
Make them move their feet. That's what you're supposed to do as a pitcher.
Can you take the championship from DNZ? This year, you can play our football pick'em on CBS Sports and compete against us in the option every week. Check the link in our Instagram bio, Fade Route Podcast, for all the details and to sign up. Then tune into the Fade Route every week until the Super Bowl for updates and standings. Bring it on. No, somebody not moving their feet too much is your boy, Fernando Tatis Jr. We talked about it last week. He tested positive for a banned substance. This past weekend, he sat in the Padres dugout, and he issued an apology to fans, teammates, and the front office for his mistake. He seemed sincere, while clinging to his story of how this was an accident. He vowed to write a better story moving forward. And he's going to get that shoulder fixed, which he should have got fixed in 2021. What are your thoughts on his apology and where he goes from here?
I think his apology was horseshit. Like, plain and simple. You got caught, you got busted. You came up with this half-assed nonsense with the ringworm that could be debunked with just typing in something in Google. But it's absolute horse shit. Now, what I also find horseshit is that, like, he's so apologetic, and he's going to take the suspension, but he's also going to get shoulder surgery. Dude, why do you need shoulder surgery? Can you tell us that one? What'd you do this time? All right, it was 2 motorcycle accidents. What happened this time? What were you, like, spelunking? Did you, like, were you free climbing? Did you jump out of an airplane? Why the fuck do you need shoulder surgery now?
Imagine what that conversation was like. Oh yeah, AJ, I'm gonna also get my shoulder surgery. What?
By the way, I'm gonna need shoulder surgery again. So, huh?
Excuse me?
Excuse me?
What was that?
Yeah. Fuck, I should have traded you for Soto. God damn it. But yeah, no. So the way I see it, he's a $340 million question mark. Like, I don't know what this guy is. He has a lot, right? He has a lot of goodwill to win back. Not only that, he needs to prove that he's legit. Because after 1 year, he got his money, and now, between injuries and PEDs, I don't know, A, if I can trust him, and B, if he's any good to begin with. That's why the J-Rod thing kind of freaks me out, And, like, the ESPN, the worldwide leader, Major League Baseball, they were just so thirsty for a superstar that they wanted this guy to be it. Like, they wanted him to be the guy. Like, they wanted Bryce Harper to be the guy. Like, they wanted Mike Trout to be the guy. The guy is Shohei Ohtani. The guy is Aaron Judge. It's not him. It's not Fernando Tatis Jr. He has time to become the guy, but we're starting from scratch again. So all in all, I wasn't impressed by the apology. It's too little too late, and he has a lot of making up to do.
Nah, you nailed it, right? You nailed it. It's like all these teams are trying to say, okay, this is our guy. We got to lock him in right now because we don't know where the market's going, right? And it's like Julio Rogers. That's why I like what the Mariners did. It's like, yeah, their contract could be anywhere between $150 million to $400 million. It's all incentive-based. So, dude, live up to what we think you're going to be, and you're going to get top dollar. Now, Mike Trout. Look at Mike Trout. They gave him all that money. They're not even sniff in the playoffs this year. He's not even the best player on the team anymore, right? Ohtani's gone next year. Moreno's going to sell the team. Disaster. Acuna, my team. We won without him. But we locked him in a few years ago. So we're good. We're good for the next couple of years. Like, we locked him in low. Done.
Albies too.
Oh, the whole team.
Yeah.
We got the third baseman too. We're good. Like
You locked up Riley,
listen, the front office for Atlanta Braves knows what they're doing. They locked up their best players for the next 10 years. Like, our window is the next 10 years. In the next 10 years, you got to get to at least 3 World Series. The only guy they haven't locked in is Dansby Swanson. But look at the kid who's coming behind him. I mean, we don't need to lock him up if we can. You know, we got talent. So I don't blame the Padres for going in all in on this dude. I don't. I'm going to take a different approach than you. I do feel like his apology was scripted, but I do think it's sincere. I do agree that he's full of shit and that this wasn't a ringworm thing. This was something else. And he is burning the franchise, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I believe that he's going to write a better story moving forward. Everyone deserves second chances. And listen, he's got the genes. His father was a stud player. He's a good player. There are other good players on that team.
His father was also a steroid cheat. We already talked about it. He was in the Mitchell report.
He was part of Murderers Row on the Cardinals, though. That team was deep. All right?
Yeah.
I think he's got talent. I wish him the best. I want it to work out. I want him to play well. I want them to compete against the Dodgers. I want them to beat the Dodgers. But his attitude's got to change. Like, the fact that they could literally, I read this today, they could void his contract and take away his guaranteed money because he got hurt on a motorcycle.
And they should.
That's that motorcycle call. Yeah, but they should, but then you're just going to piss him off. Like, what's the point of doing that?
Right.
And I think, and that's the Padres showing good faith. It's like, dude, we can take away all your money right now. We're not going to. Get your shit together.
See, that's the thing. Like, you see it as a positive. I see it as a negative. I want the Dodgers to drub the living shit out of this team. I don't like the Padres.
I don't like the Dodgers, dude.
Yeah.
I don't like the Dodgers. I don't like teams that spend mad money and win.
That's everybody.
No, it's not everybody. It's the top 4 teams in the league right now. The Dodgers, come on, dude. To me, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Betts is the best player in baseball. They went and got him for a ham sandwich. Then they go out and trade for the best player on my team, Freddie Freeman. Or not even trade for him. They signed him. They fucking went out and signed him. To me, Kershaw, yeah, he's on his way out, but they have pitching. They have hitting. They're in LA. They have the highest payroll. I don't like those teams. I want those teams to go down and go down hard. The Mets are another one. The Mets don't have a lot to show for it, but their manager, Buck Showalter, might be the best manager in baseball this year. The stuff that he's done with that team, and you can go look and listen to our recordings from earlier in the season, and I was talking shit about him. I was wrong. That guy knows how to manage a team. He knows how to challenge a team, because he's outcoached the Atlanta Braves every time they played him this year. Like, he's just miles ahead of everybody in everything he does with his bullpen, with his starting rotation, and with his players. And then it's the Yankees, the team I've hated all my life. Like, I don't like that team. I like when the Royals win. That's epic. I like when Tampa's in the World Series. That's awesome. Like, I want teams that you don't expect to get there and beat these powerhouses. I'm a Billy Bean guy. Adapt or die. Like, that's me, man. That's just what I look at it. And I look at this situation, and it's just like, you know, it's just fun. It's frustrating. It's frustrating what's happened to him. But I like San Diego to be successful. I want them to move forward. I want them to do well.
Looking to break into broadcast media, web development, social media marketing, or filmmaking? Then CSB is the program for you. From day one, you'll be trained hands-on by industry pros like friend of the show Rob Adams, whose goal is to get you trained and get you working in months, not years. CSB offers 8 and 16-week programs in small class sizes designed to give you the personalized attention you need. If you can make it in person, there are 5 East Coast locations. If you can't, they offer virtual classes too. How great is that?
And once you graduate, you become part of the alumni network that gets you to the front of the line. Trust me, I'm an alum myself. Go to gocsb.com today, request more info, set up a studio tour, and who knows, you may very well be on your way to a career in broadcast media. That's gocsb.com, and tell them Z sent you. gocsb.com.
Albert Pujols is on a tear lately, man. And he's 7 home runs away from 700. Do you think he will reach the feat before the end of the season? And do you give the Cards a sporting chance in the playoffs?
I mean, if we look at it right now, it's August 26th. He has over a month left. The Cardinals are in first place. They're 72 and 53. Like, he doesn't have to play every day. Like, that's the best thing, you know. You have Goldschmidt, you have Arenado.
People aren't talking a lot. People are not talking enough about Goldschmidt's season.
No, Goldschmidt is definitely an MVP candidate. You definitely.
You think he has the Triple Crown on his team?
Oliver Marmol needs some serious consideration for Manager of the Year. Rookie manager. You have 240-somethings on your team. You have the rotting corpse of Yadier Molina. And still, like, they're getting the job done. If you look at it from now, right, they're playing the Braves this weekend. All right, the rest of the season: Cincinnati, Cubs, Nats, Pirates, Brewers, Reds, Padres, Dodgers,
Sounds like a lot of trash.
Brewers, and then a 6-game set. 6 games against the Pirates to end the season. You're telling me you can't find 7-8 home runs in there? Like, I'm not betting against this man. Like, I really think that he'll be able to get it done. Not only can he get it done, this team is going to make the playoffs, and they're going to make some noise. They're definitely going to be a tough out. And, you know, I'm not saying World Series, but they can definitely challenge the Mets. They can challenge the Dodgers because they've been there. They've done that. And they'll be able to put a scare into some teams. And Pujols, there was a cloud there. There's an absolute cloud there, but it's still a good milestone. It's still a good feel-good moment, especially as he's you know wading to the end of his career, like as he's getting into the twilight. And all in all, like, I think that it was the right story, the right time, and it's going to have a positive net result.
Listen, 7 home runs is a lot. You know, me personally, I don't think he makes it. Just kind of things like you mentioned. He doesn't really play every day, and it's hard. It's hard to hit home runs. You're talking about in a month. You're almost talking about he's got to hit between 1 and 2 a week. You know, people can pitch around him. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if they're pitching around him anymore, to be honest, because he's not Albert Pujols anymore. You know, like.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know. I mean, now as far as the Cards' chances in the playoffs, I love it, especially if Flaherty comes back. They need Flaherty. Mm-hmm. They've been in first place the majority of the season without their best pitcher, and Adam Wainwright is what, 40, 38, 39?
Waino's 40.
And he's crushing it. They, to me, pose the biggest problem for the New York Mets. The New York Mets do not want to play the Cardinals. That could be a huge problem because those boys can hit. You're going to get Goldschmidt, Arenado, and you're going to get Pujols. And then if Flaherty's there, you get Flaherty, Wainwright. They just got to win 1 game in Citi Field. Yeah, that's it. They got to win 1 game in Citi Field. And I'm, you know what? You just don't know. You don't know. So the Cardinals, they're a well-run organization, and they can take out anybody. They can even take out my Braves. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, the Cardinals. If the Cardinals are in it, they can win it. You know, they have.
They need Flaherty though. They need another pitcher. They need one more guy to come in and be lights out for even if it just happens in the playoffs. They need a guy that's going to go 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run.
And Jack Flaherty could definitely be that guy. Like Jordan Montgomery's being that guy right now. I mean, he's really.
How good does he look right now?
It's unbelievable how good Jordan Montgomery. He looks like Andy Pettitte. The Yankees.
Oh, don't fucking say that.
Here's
that
why.
Guy.
Yeah, well,
Fuck
excuse me.
that guy.
But, yeah, I'm sorry that he beat John Smoltz in that game. I'm sorry that he outdueled Mr. Smoltz, but he did. Okay.
I'm pretty sure he got jacked up like 12-1 in the first game, didn't he?
He did.
He didn't. Did he pitch? No, he pitched in that game, right?
No, I think it was Pettitte.
I'm
pretty sure you're right. It was Pettitte. But in the 2-1 pivotal game,
yeah, that was
that was it.
Oh no, it was 1-0.
It was 1-0. It was 1-0. You're right. But Jordan Montgomery has taken it to another level. Is it sustainable? I don't know. But like he's doing a fantastic job right now. I'm not saying he's a number 2, but he can certainly get it done. You have Miles Michaelis, you have Dakota Hudson, you have guys who can pick up the slack. They brought in Jose Quintana, who's doing great. So you definitely have some depth. And the one thing about the Cards is that the Cards are always able to figure it out. And Figure It Out brought to you by Mike Westhoff, the legendary special teams coach of the New York Jets. Check out his socials. You have Mike Westhoff 8052 and on Twitter at STC Coach Mike for all the insights and to find out where you can get Figure It Out. But the Cards are absolutely able to make that happen, and they're a dangerous out. They'll scare everybody in the National League and probably the American League too if they somehow make it to the World Series.
Are you in need of air care maintenance or service? I have the company for you. Air Care Technicians. They service the Westchester and Northern Bronx area and can help you with all your heating and cooling, maintenance, and service needs. Just give them a call at 914-315-1547. Again, that's 914-315-1547. Or shoot them an email at aircaretechnicians@gmail.com. These guys are the real deal as they are veteran-owned, licensed, and insured. Make sure to tell them that D&Z sent you.
It's time for the mail route on the Fade Route. If you want to get featured, hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com, or slide in those DMs at Fade Route Podcast on IG, or drop us a line on our Twitter page at Fade Route DNZ.
All right, guys and girls, we have a short email box today, but if you want to be featured on the show, hit us up at faderoutemail@gmail.com, and your email might be featured on this here show. Email number 1 from Mike in Champaign, Illinois. Hey guys, Northwestern is playing against Nebraska in Ireland this weekend. Why?
Yeah, good question, Mike. I don't have an answer. This trip was likely pushed by rich Northwestern alumni who want to play on foreign soil. I don't get it. I talked to a buddy of mine who's from Ireland. He's confused by why they're playing there. And he's like, the people in Ireland have no interest in this. Most of the people going to the game are Americans. Whatever. I think Notre Dame has played 3 games there since 1996. I'm not sure what the connection is. Why Ireland? Why not Germany? Fuck, why not South Korea? I don't know.
I mean, if you're looking at this, it points to money. The answer to all your questions.
What money are they trying to get, Z? What are they trying to recruit people from Ireland to go to Northwestern? What money are they looking for? You gonna watch the game? I'm not gonna watch the game.
Well, I'm not going to watch any of this crap. We're going to go through the week
They're not
zero
even.
schedule.
They're not even like a top 20 team. They're not even. You're not even getting top 25 teams. This
Not
has no
one
bearing
team.
on anything.
And this is where week 0 falls apart because not one top 25 team is playing. And, the money, it boils down to that sweet TV money. They're getting Fox money.
It's going to be on Fox?
It's going to be on Fox. Yep. It's going to be on Fox. So they're going to get their money. But
yeah, there you go.
Look at this schedule. I'm going to run down real quick and see if any of this interests you for the epic week 0. Austin P at Western Kentucky. Nebraska at Northwestern. Idaho State at UNLV. UConn at Utah State. Wyoming, Illinois. Duquesne is a football team? I didn't know that. Duquesne at Florida State. Charlotte, Florida Atlantic. Florida A&M at North Carolina. North Texas at UTEP. Nevada at New Mexico State. Vanderbilt at Hawaii. Absolutely nothing there intrigues me. It's absolutely ridiculous. But if Notre Dame went to Ireland, okay, that would mean something. That would be something that would be intriguing. The Fighting Irish go home to the motherland, so to speak. But Nebraska and Northwestern have no connection whatsoever to Ireland.
Have them play in the Field of Dreams. That'd be more interesting.
There you go. It gives, it becomes a multi-purpose venue, and I think you're absolutely right on that. I just don't get it. I don't see it. And it's not the rousing start that college football would want, but it's what they got.
Good question, Mike. Thanks for emailing us.
Email number 2 comes from Dom in the Bronx. Hey guys, I have the number 8 pick in fantasy football this year. Who should I pick?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. This year's going to be interesting. Well, Dom, I'd go wide receiver unless there's a Najee Harris or a Derrick Henry or a Dalvin Cook sitting out there. You can't go wrong with Jamar Chase. You can't go wrong with Devontae Adams. You got to think there's going to be some upside there. It's going to be a wild first round, I think. You can have a lot of different things. You're going to have tight ends going, running backs going, wide receivers going. You got to feel it out and ultimately go with a player that you're going to enjoy rooting for during the fantasy season.
That's fair. That is very fair. Well, it depends on who you're valuing, right? Are you going to be a pass-heavy team, or are you going to value the run like you traditionally do when you're drafting for fantasy? Because number 1 and number 2, I think, now we'll see if that actually occurs, flip a coin, either Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor. I think one of those two would be number 1 or 2. There's going to be some jackass who takes Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley very high. So I don't know. I don't know how savvy the other members of your league are. Are they going to be the guys who take Aaron Rodgers high because he's a quarterback and puts up a lot of points? There's always going to be that one misguided guy who reaches, right? So there's a possibility that you could end up at 8 with a guy like Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, Debo. There's a lot of wiggle room between 3 and 8 because you figure Cooper Kupp is going to go. You're going to have Kamara, but Kamara has his legal issues. Chubb is going to get a lot of burn this year, so Chubb is probably going to get picked high. Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon. There's a lot of players out there that could feasibly go in that 3 to 8 range. So it depends on who you value. And if you have a guy like Najee Harris at 8, take him. He's going to get a lot of play. I would steer clear from McCaffrey. I think it's well documented my feelings on Christian McCaffrey. Saquon, another guy I wouldn't take that high. Dalvin Cook, another guy I wouldn't take that high. So Chubb would be a good one. DeAndre Swift might be a steal. That might be a little bit of a reach, but if he's as good as advertised, DeAndre Swift might be a good choice. But all in all, just don't be that guy. Don't be that
We're
guy.
gonna have to create a shirt on the Fade Route store. That guy.
Don't be who?
That
guy.
I'm that guy. Avoid messy accidents. Get better stopping power with your brake pads. Callahan brake pads. You never know when you'll be driving in the road and there will be a truck tire that you need to avoid and save your family. Callahan Auto. We really care about what's under your hood.
The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
All right, guys and girls, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. We put up a poll on our Twitter page at FadeRouteDNZ, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote. And the winner of that poll gets the coveted ass trophy and gets his or her name shouted out on this here podcast. And do you know who took home the ass last week, D?
I don't.
Fernando Tatis Jr.
That guy.
That guy. See, don't be that guy. But that was last week. This is this week. Who you got, D?
Oh, man. First up, I got Garrett Cole. Challenging Manoah after he hit Judge with a pitch. Sit down, son, before you get hurt. Garrett Cole, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Number 2, I got 2 guys, Z. I got Rams GM Les Snead and Bengals GM Mike Brown. I got an idea. Let's have a training camp practice with the 2 teams that met each other in the Super Bowl. Not a preseason game, not a regular season game, but a training camp practice. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, I don't know. Maybe Aaron Donald tries to fight the entire Bengals team. Les Snead, Mike Brown, you're my alleged superstars of the week. Number 3, the Jets front office, recurring theme here. 2nd round pick in the 2020 draft, Mims is requested for a trade. So let's get this straight, guys. In the 2020 draft, the number 11 overall pick got hurt because you moved him to a position that he's not familiar with. And the 2nd round pick is now requesting for a trade. I don't know, guys. I think you're getting this shit wrong. Well done, Joe D. Jets front office, you're my alleged superstar of the week. Z, what do you got?
All good choices. All good choices. I'm going to go with Fernando Tatis Jr. For a little back-to-back week appearance for your half-assed, lame-ass apology. And while we're at it, oh, by the way, I'm just going to go get shoulder surgery. So, I'm just going to, I'm just going to do that.
That shoulder surgery you want me to get? I'm going to go get it now.
I'm going to take care of it now.
I'm going to do it now.
Fernando, you know that the suspension doesn't start until after you're that forget. Fernando Tatis Jr., you are my alleged superstar of the week.
See you in 2024.
We'll see you soon. We'll see you when we see you.
We'll see you when you see it.
We'll see you down the road, brother. Aaron Donald for swinging helmets like Myles Garrett. Except this was in practice, not a game. Not a game. We talking about practice. Aaron Donald, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Kevin Durant / the Brooklyn Nets for deciding that we're just going to move forward after all of this bullshit of you're requesting a trade and then fielding offers and then not getting the trade that you wanted, and we're just going to move forward. So you mean to tell me that you wasted the time of the other teams, you wasted the time of the media, you wasted the time of your fans with this high school Mickey Mouse drama, just to move forward like nothing ever happened. A pox on both your houses. A plague on both your houses. Durant and the Nets. You are my alleged superstar of the week. And coming in late, the Buffalo Bills for cutting your punter, Matt Hack, and keeping the guy accused of rape, accused of, in a civil suit, Matt Ariza is accused of gang rape. You couldn't wait a week. Like you couldn't keep this guy. Like, it's just a bad look, Buffalo. It is an absolutely horrible look, and it's all self-inflicted. Buffalo Bills, you are my alleged superstar of the week. I think we have said our piece, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the Twitter page and vote and vote and vote. And for our nominee, just do better, boys. Just do better.
Your favorite podcast has its own merch line now. Go to the Fade store with DNZ.com today for all your Fade Route merch needs. I'm talking tank tops, t-shirts, sweatshirts, like yoga pants, we got those too. Like some cool accessories, we got those too. And we're not done yet. We have so much more planned for you, but check out what we have today at the Fade store with DNZ.com. That's the Fade store with DNZ.com. Order up!
We continue on with our division by division preview as we order up.
Order up, order up.
This week, we order up the NFC East. Used to be the NFC Beast, now it's the NFC Least. But what's it going to be this year? From 4 to 1, who you got, D?
Yeah, unfortunately for you, I've got the New York Giants. I think 4 games into the season, Daniel Jones will be toast. 6 games into the season, Saquon will be hurt. I think both players won't be back with the team next year. The only plus side I see is I think they're with Martindale as the defensive coordinator. I think the defense plays well, and I think they create building blocks for next year. Number 3, Washington. I think they finished 3rd because of their quarterback play. I really do think this is a talented team. They have a solid defense. I do believe in Jack Del Rio and Riverboat Ron. Their wide receiver room is good with Scary Terry, and their running back room is strong with Boobie Gibson. So I think Washington finishes 3. Number 2, I have the Eagles. I think the defense is going to hurt them. Surprise, not a lot of analysts say that. I think the defense hurts them. I don't think they're going to get explosive plays on offense. I think they control the ball well enough to win games. They have a stud wide receiver. Miles Sanders has to have more touchdowns than last year because he had 0 last year. And Hurts is smart with the football. And then number 1 is Dallas. You might think it's silly, but yeah, I think they're the best team in the division. They're going to be good. I have them winning double-digit games. I think CeeDee Lamb shines, not in an AB way, but in a very good way. Pollard winds up taking the lead in the backfield, and the defense will close out games. Z, what do you got?
It all makes sense. It's all very logical. But I don't believe in Carson Wentz, as you know. I just don't believe in Carson Wentz. And frankly, all of these teams in this division are thoroughly mediocre when you really look at them. And it wouldn't surprise me if...
You really think the Dallas Cowboys are mediocre?
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
They got
I
a top
think-
10 wide receiver. He's a top 10 wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb is a top 10 wide
Like
receiver.
all things Dallas Cowboy, he's overrated. Like all things Dallas Cowboy, CeeDee Lamb is overrated. Dak Prescott's overrated. Trayvon Diggs is overrated. We'll see what happens when, he's not surprising people. Micah Parsons, he might be the only stud there. Now, the most mediocre of this team is Washington, because Carson Wentz will not make it through the season. I'm documented on that. 4th place, pretty easy too, because once you get past Terry McLaurin, Boobie Gibson was playing special teams. So we'll see if he's back in Riverboat Ron's doghouse at some point, because that's a bad look for a guy who's supposed to be your star or number 1 running back is running special teams. That's not good. They do have a good start. They have a good front 4. Linebacker is shaky, so we'll see. I like the Giants at number 3. I think they will make the switch eventually, because Daniel Jones will not hack it. I don't know if it's Tyrod Taylor or if it's Jimmy Garoppolo. If it's Jimmy Garoppolo, the Giants could move up higher, in my opinion. But he's not there, so we're going with what's available. I like what they've done. The offensive line is good. The defensive line is improving. Graham Gano is there, solid. We'll see if he will stop hitting people and get himself concussed. I like what the Giants have done. I'm in no way saying that they're going to be in first place. Third, fair enough. Maybe a game difference from the Commanders. 2nd place, the Cowboys. I don't think they did enough. I don't think they have enough. Dak Prescott is overrated. I can go on and on and on, but I would just be beating a dead horse. Cowboys, 2nd place. Number 1 by default is the Eagles, but I don't even trust them that much either. They're loaded, right? You have Miles Sanders, you have Boston Scott. Cool. Good 1-2 punch. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins. Yeah, that's fine. Dallas Goedert, good. On the opposite side of the ball, you have Hassan Reddick you brought in. Darius Slay. You brought in ex-Giant James Bradbury. You have a lot of talent on this team. And that's not even talking about the offensive line with Kelsey, Mailata, Lane Johnson. To me, it boils down to the quarterback. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is good enough to lead this team. Would it surprise me if at some point Gardner Minshew has to come in and clean up a little bit? It would not surprise me. It would also not surprise me if the Eagles win this division with a sub-double-digit record. It wouldn't surprise me at all if this was a 9-8 division. But it's just the teams in this division just don't do anything for me. And as you know, one of the teams is my team. So you can't accuse me of being a homer. I think they all stink.
This has been the Fade Route with D&Z. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Catch our podcast Wednesday nights on Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast. Until next time, stay faded, everyone.
Time for us to run the go route, but we'll talk to you next week.
Want to get on the action? We want to hear from you. Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com. Slide in our DMs on IG @FadeRoutePodcast. Drop us a DM on Twitter @FadeRouteDNZ. Comment on our YouTube channel, The Fade Route with DNZ. Questions, comments, picks, segment suggestions, you name it, we want to hear from you. Get at us, in crowd.